And I'm wondering if you can elaborate on what the top 2 or 3 things you think both business leaders and policymakers should be focused on to preserve U.S. competitiveness.
Well, I would say healthcare costs would be a big item. We're a country that spending, we'll say, you get different figures, but call it 17.5% or so of GDP. And most of our rivals in the world are paying anywhere from probably 9.5 to maybe 11.5 or thereabouts. So, there are only 100 cents in the dollar, and if you give up 6 or 7 or 8 points of that dollar, I mean, it's just like having a raw material that costs you more or something of the sort. So that will be a major problem in American competitiveness. It is right now, and it will. All signs point to the fact that it will become more so. And it doesn't relate to the Medicare problem, which is a huge problem, obviously. But the real problem is healthcare costs, whether it's in the private system or whatever payer system you have. We have a big disadvantage in cost versus the rest of the world. People used to talk about how General Motors had $1,500 a car in healthcare costs that Toyota didn't have. Well, if they had $1,500 a car disadvantage in steel costs, I mean, the management would be focused on that. If they had $150, if they had $15 difference in steel costs, but healthcare costs, which are sort of beyond the control of any one company, promise to be a huge competitive disadvantage. Overall, though, incidentally, I mean, the United States, since the crisis of 2008, we've done very well compared to most countries, and our system works. But if you ask me the number one problem for American business, I would say it's that healthcare cost disadvantage. Charlie?
Well, I would add that I don't think it does our competitiveness any good to have this grossly swollen securities and derivative markets. And the young men from Caltech and MIT going into high finance and derivative trading and so on, I think this is a perfectly crazy outcome in terms of its effect on the country.